Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. The newly enacted federal farm bill is expected to be a big boost for hemp growers. But even before federal legislation, new processing facilities, products, and stores have sprung up quickly in Vermont. According to the Agency of Agriculture, Food, and Markets, the number of hemp growers who have registered as required grew more than 400% over the past 2 years. So perhaps it's not such a surprise that the 2019 Industrial Hemp Conference drew record crowds. Across the Fence's Keith Silva was there.
The 2019 Industrial Hemp Conference was a hit.
2019 is going to be a big year for hemp.
Over 400 people packed the ballroom, halls, and corridors of the Hilton Burlington to get the latest information about Vermont's newest crop, hemp. UVM Extension agronomist Heather Darby organized this event.
The new farm bill was just passed at the end of 2018, and basically hemp, industrial hemp, is now considered a crop. And so it's managed through the USDA, and that opens up lots of markets, lots of opportunities for farmers, businesses, and industry.
Hemp is a variety of cannabis, but unlike other varieties of the plant, there's no high. Hemp is versatile. It can be used to make clothing, paper, and has medicinal properties. Hemp's inclusion to the federal farm bill means it's no longer a Schedule I controlled substance, which is good news for growers and processors like John DiGiuseppe.
2 years ago, well, it was just kind of growing hemp and fooling around in the kitchen making products and giving it away. We didn't start taking money until we had a labeled product. We've only really been in business since July.
DiGiuseppe runs Lily Hill Farm in Johnson, where he grows 4 acres of hemp. The focus of his business is on hemp's healing properties.
I want to keep it simple, a good product to the people, right from the farm, affordable, and just focus on the medicine that it is. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but it is plant medicine, and it's working.
Many of the vendors at this conference are promoting CBD, or cannabidiol. It's the oil extracted from hemp seeds. CBD has shown to have numerous health benefits, but because it doesn't have approval from federal health agencies, CBD remains on the fringes of medicine. Colin Reynolds of Elmore Mountain Therapeutics says that's changing fast.
And we're seeing anecdotally and pretty soon, more clinically and more actually proven research, we're seeing that these therapeutic benefits in this plant are actually, there's no joke here.
For the consumer, lack of regulation means buyer beware. Reynolds wants federal guidelines as a way to mainstream CBD and open up markets.
We need to operate with as much integrity as possible. We can't be out there putting out things that aren't what they say they are. And right now there is no regulation. Eventually we want to get to the point where people don't have to even think about those things. They say that it comes from Elmore Mountain Therapeutics, I know it's good. We don't have to do any of this stuff, but we feel to be true industry leaders, we need to put that out there.
Jessie Lynn Dolan is a registered hemp grower and a registered nurse. For her, regulating hemp and CBD is vital to consumer protection.
We really need to make sure we know what's in the bottle is what's on the label and that patients can use it safely. So I really hope and look forward to us having some rules and regulations so when a consumer or patient grabs that bottle, they know they can trust everything that's written on that label so they can make that informed decision.
The 2019 Hemp Conference attracted advocates, growers, and vendors. But other businesses are also getting hip to hemp. Nicholas McClure works as a realtor for Century 21.
We've got interested clients that are kind of looking at different properties, and it's interesting that it ranges from a 10-acre property with no improvements to some large-scale, maybe old dairy or beef farms that have buildings where they can dry and they can process. So a lot of different scales, but we're excited about it.
The excitement about hemp goes beyond this conference. Darby expects the general public's interest to increase as hemp becomes more available and visible.
There'll be more hemp acres on the landscape. So people, that are driving through Vermont will start to see this crop that looks a little different to them. They'll probably take a double take, is that? And yes, it is. So it's going to become very visual in the landscape. There's going to be more acres, more production, and more, products being produced in the state. So it'll just be more visual overall to people that are, traveling around the state.
The jury may be out on issues of regulation and efficacy, but the high interest in hemp looks likely to last. In Burlington, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Thank you, Keith. As you just saw, industrial hemp is growing. In 2016, there were a couple of dozen registered growers in Vermont. Now there's something like over 450 and growing. So here we are. To learn more, I'm joined by the Vermont's Secretary of Agriculture, Anson Teppets. It's so great to have you here.
Great to be here.
So with dairy in such trouble right now, this must be kind of an exciting opportunity, is it?
A lot of people are very excited about this, and we do have some of our dairy farmers that are much like maple syrup. When they would sugar during the spring, they may be looking at possibly growing a few acres of hemp. At the Agency of Agriculture, this spring the phone has been ringing off the hook to get everyone registered and so forth. But well over 400 people have registered already to grow hemp in the state of Vermont.
Wow. So what is the agency's role here? Is it mainly registration, or is it more than that?
Yeah, if someone's going to grow hemp, they have to register with us. It's a pretty simple form, online form, and the registration fee right now is just $25. And what they have to do is they have to say how much they're going to grow and where they're going to grow it, and that's under the federal rules under USDA. That's what we're doing, and a number of folks are taking advantage of that right now.
Is that a surprise? Is it hard to deal with all these people?
It's been interesting. We have had to change what we're doing at the agency a little bit just to handle the registrations. We have had to change someone that was not working in the hemp world to focus on that, because the phone was ringing off the hook and people are calling in asking, what do I do? How do I register? How do I get focused on this? And there's a lot to it, and we're encouraging people to do their homework and be careful about this. We don't want it to be the real Wild West out there with people, but it's a crop, so you need to know what you're doing.
Is it viable? Is this another boom and bust kind of thing, or do you think?
Most people tell me that this has real potential, and we're seeing it across the country. We're not going to be industrialized. We're going to be sort of a smaller scale, focused on quality. Some people may grow an acre, they may grow 5 acres, they may grow 15 acres. We are seeing startup companies that are processing as well. We have 7 or 8, maybe 10 companies that are processing it and we're mostly in the CBD oil aspect of it. But hemp can be used for food, fiber, or fuel. But for the most part, Vermont has been focused on the CBD. Well,
since it is CBD, there are currently no standards for that, which is, and it's interesting that the growers are calling for regulation. Usually that isn't true. But should we be concerned about the fact that there's no regulation now? When do you see it coming down the pike?
I think we're going to get there, and we have a couple of things that we're working on. We're writing some new rules and regulations, and we've been working with everyone from the grower to the processors to get this done. And I think what we want to do is we want to have some standards out there that focus on quality. The Agency of Agriculture has a lab, and we'll be doing more testing. Right now we're in the rule process where people can comment on those, and then we'll set some guidelines and some standards for folks about meeting some of these regulations that folks are asking about.
Well, and also just to clarify, CBDs they don't get you high, but they are medicinal.
Medicinal, and they're being used for in your foods. They're being used for ailments,
stress and aches and pains, right?
Etc. So I think the folks are looking for some guidance on that to make sure that we have good quality and it's healthy.
So your quality control program is underway and
we'll be doing hopefully once we get these rules and regulations and the standards in place, we'll be able to do more testing and being offered to focused on consumer assurance and also some really high quality products that will be produced from that.
Should consumers be concerned now with what's out there?
I think in anything people should make sure, check the labels, you know, I have not heard of anyone getting sick or anything like that, but I think everyone should be cautious to make sure that everything is, you're dealing with good companies, and there are a number of great companies that have started up in Vermont. They're doing a bang-up job on this. But as always, people should be careful about that. The FDA is looking at this as well, so that's another area that we're going to be focused on as well, working with them to make sure we have some assurances from them.
And to take the amounts that they say on the bottle,
Exactly.
which is their best guess
Exactly.
right now from what they know. And as you look at the future, how do you ensure a prosperous future for hemp?
I think we have to look at quality. Much like our artisan cheese makers, our craft beer folks, we're never going to be big, etc. But when we have the Vermont brand, we want to focus on quality, and that begins with growing a quality crop, testing it, and making sure that it's marketed properly. And that's what we're focused on, to make sure we have those standards there. Because Vermonters, that's one thing they're great about, is quality food, quality products. And that's what we're going to be focused on with these new regulations.
People can trust us.
Absolutely.
Trust that they're going to be.
Absolutely. When they see Vermont on the label, they know that it's been grown under good standards, and it can be backed up. Is our goal.
So this is a good diversification product for many farmers.
Absolutely. As always, everyone should have a business plan. They should get the technical assistance they need. It's not easy necessarily to dry it. There's mold issues, all those type of things. Make sure you have a market for it. You don't want to grow 5 acres and not have someone be able to buy it. So people need to really do their homework, much like anything else they would do in agriculture. It's a business, but people need to do their homework and make sure that they're well equipped to handle this new crop. But we do believe there's a potential here for folks to make a decent living off it.
Awesome. So for more information about hemp and all other aspects of agriculture in Vermont, you can check the agency's website. It is agriculture.vermont.gov. That's agriculture.vermont.gov. You can also call the agency at 802-828-2430, 828-2430. Anson Tebbets, thank you so much for coming in and informing us so much about what's happening with hemp.
You bet.
Industrialized hemp.
Yep.
And thank you again for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard.